Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here today with the Empire, another replay submitted by KARL himself, facing off against El Halcon, who's playing the Lizardmen, of course. So let's go ahead and have a look here. FRANZ leading the way, back line of Spearmen. We've got a couple of handgunners here, Silver Bullets and Sterling's Revenge. Hammer of Witches, Halberdiers, we've got some more handgunners. And yeah, front line of Sigmar's Sons and two great swords. This is the Lost Vaults of King Lund, which I actually haven't seen this map in quite a while. It's quite popular in Game 1, but we'll see. We've got front line of Skin Cohort here with Javs, second line of Saurus Warriors, plenty of Horned ones as well. Interesting pick. Saurus Warriors with shields, a Feral Bastildon, two Feral Bastildons, quite popular these days. So we'll see. Mr. MAZDAMUNDI up on his throne here does have some missile resistance, but at the same time the cannons are going to probably put a number on him. He's going to self-buff with some apotheosis, try and keep himself alive, but yeah, FRANZ could potentially take a dive here and try and just finish him off quickly. It would be a bit risky because of those horned ones. But yeah, you can see Bastildons charging in. They're going to go straight through those great swords, just act as kind of line breakers. And then the Sigmar's Sons and more coming in. We'll see. Looks like the Horned one's making a massive charge as well. So these great swords are definitely in for a tough time. We'll see how long this front line of the Empire holds up. But a massive Curse of Midnight Wind from the Heavens Mage there. Unfortunately, the handgunner's getting a little bit close. Looks like they were maybe trying to go after MAZDAMUNDI. But yeah, you can see those great swords just get absolutely stepped on. And a decent banishment in the back line here. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite hang around as long as it could. But MAZDAMUNDI has been shot up by that cannon at this point. So definitely a bit of give and take. And this is one of the reasons why, even though bringing him on Zlok does make him a big target, he's already a pretty big target to begin with. And, you know, the missile resistance in his relatively low HP pool isn't the best. You can see FRANZ getting chased off by these Horned ones. It's also a pretty rough situation, so definitely give and take on both sides. But the Lizardmen trying to push through pretty aggressively here. You can see the Bastildon just punching through this front line. The infantry are really just not going to be able to hold it back. It's going to be up to the handgunners to deal the armor-piercing damage here to finish off this big dino. And you can see they have managed to finish off the one. The other one is a little bit of a riskier situation. This Witch Hunter here, I didn't highlight this before, but the Witch Hunter did get a change. The accusation no longer is a direct damage. Instead, it's a hex, gives negative armor, melee defense, and missile resistance. So it can be potentially very useful, especially if you're using it in combination with something like Plague of Rust to really tear down the armor of enemy units. Looks like FRANZ is back from his wild goose chase there, and the Horned ones are going to try and make their way up and around here. But the one group of Horned ones has been dealt with relatively well, and the Empire line is holding, at least for the time being. Some of the Lizards are getting back into the second phase here, though, and these handgunners don't really have a lot of support at this point. You can see the Spearmen desperately trying to hold back these Skinks. Free Company Revenge, Free Company Militia, Sterling's Revenge, and the Silver Bullets, other various units trying to find a free place here, but you can see the Horned ones just, nothing is really able to hold them back. There's not really any traditional heavy cavalry for the Empire, so because of that, the Horned ones are able to get back and get on top of these handgunners and so on. That being said, pushing through like this does mean that they're going to expose themselves to FRANZ. We've got other various units in this backline as well, lots of support, so we'll see. It's a little bit chaotic at this point, but we do still have a bit of a cohesive line here for the Empire that is holding, at least for the time being. And the Bastildons come back from route. Looks like MAZDAMUNDI did go back to his Star Chamber to contemplate what went wrong here. But with his loss, the balance power is going to be pretty heavily in the Empire's favor. And unfortunately, because of taking this engagement right next to the edge of the map here, when the units route, you can see like those handgunners are just going to go straight off the side. So it's a little bit of a rough situation, but at the same time, these Horned ones, you know, they likewise, if they get terrified by FRANZ, will just go straight off the side as well. Horned ones I don't believe are immune to psychology. I want to say they cause fear, but yeah, they're not immune to psychology. So, yeah. The cannon's getting taken out. You can see there is this kind of lizard death blob here that has managed to claw back the balance of power a ways, just because there's not really a lot of good anti-infantry tools left. There's a few tattered great swords here, but there's just so many Saurus here There's nothing to protect these missile units as well. The skinks are quite a bit faster, especially if they throw a poison jab volley, then they can definitely catch these handgunners here. FRANZ, again, going to try and hold back, try and secure his guns, but it's going to be pretty tough. These skinks are consistent little buggers. And you can see the cannon crew all wrapped up in this mess. They're obviously not happy. We do still have some rallying state troops here, but yeah, the balance of power is slowly creeping back in the Lizardmen's favor. They might honestly be able to take this back. We'll see. FRANZ is taking a risky engagement, trying to make sure that Lore of Life Jade Wizard stays online. A nice Earthblood there. His leadership was dangerously low, so definitely want to try and bail him out. Maybe even just pull him up and around to start rallying some of these troops over here. But Feral Bastillodon being used to chase off some of these state troops here. The fact that they're both still alive is a bit of an issue for the Empire, but you can see a big terror route here just caused a lot of Lizardmen units to rout off the side, including those horned ones, which was really the last threat for FRANZ himself. At this point, he can kind of just cycle charge this big Saurus blob to death. Yeah, unfortunately, the Witch Hunter did get caught up in the Saurus there, but FRANZ is probably going to be able to take this. We'll see. It is a lot of Saurus still to cut through, but thankfully the Jade Wizard was able to extricate himself. He can stay mobile and just run around and prevent, critical army losses and the air penalties and everything. I think KARL could probably just stay and fight anyway at this point. But you can see the balance power has shifted just about all the way to even. Reichland Runefang and Stand Your Ground for KARL Franz, buffing up his combat stats, wants to try and make sure that he can't, can't get routed off due to getting exhausted here, but it is going to be pretty close. We'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit as KARL Franz is just going to grind through some of these Saurus for a while here. If the Jade Wizard can get a rear charge penalty, is what it's looking like he's going for, then he could potentially trigger a big terror route and chase off a bunch of units right off the side here. Certainly easier said than done, but it looks like these state troops still just being chased by those Bastillodons, and I almost wonder if FRANZ shouldn't just cut away from here and go try and bail out some of those state troops and finish off these Bastillodons. They're both so low that if he was able to finish them off, he could probably tip the balance power, but here we do get a big terror route. Looks like the Jade Wizard may have gone in for a quick rear charge there to trigger that penalty. And yeah, FRANZ with his hammer out should be able to grind through the rest of these Saurus here. Looks like the balance power shifting pretty heavily, and yeah, the terror is going to be an issue for these Saurus. Despite their good base leadership, just the fact that MAZDAMUNDI's gone, they've lost a lot of their army, does mean that they're going to have just generally leadership issues, but the army losses are being held off still by these Bastillodons, especially as well. The fact that they have terror is going to be key here also. We'll see. Can these Saurus hold out against KARL Franz? I think we all know the answer is going to be probably not. And you can see a mass terror route triggers a few of them to run off the field, and that gets close enough to army losses to rout the rest. And that is going to be a victory for KARL Franz. And a very interesting game. That map definitely forced Lizardmen into a tough situation. And again, the fact that MAZDAMUNDI did not have a mount to give him extra HP, because the Stegodon mount, honestly, one of the biggest reasons you bring it again is just to give him the bigger HP pool. It does give him heavier armor as well, which doesn't help a ton against something like the Hammer of the Witches, but just having more HP means that you have longer to heal yourself. And, because Apotheosis is a relatively light heal, relatively short uptime, and short cooldown, you want to try and spam it as much as possible, and having more HP just gives you more time to be able to do that, right? But yeah, FRANZ at the end of the day carrying super heavy against the Saurus, 123 kills. That initial engagement for the Lizardmen went very well. He was able to crush those great swords pretty good initially with the horned ones, 103 kills, 86, 82. All of them performed very well, and the Feral Bastillodons, key terror routes as well. The Empire infantry just got run over super hard, and the guns were able to do enough to the Feral Bastillodons that they saw them back from the initial engagement. And then, yeah, once FRANZ was able to see off the horned ones, terrify them away, off the side of the map, at that point, there really wasn't a lot left on the Lizardman army that could deal with what the Empire had here, especially KARL Franz himself, just such a beast. So nice to see the use of the Witch Hunter. He did get a little bit cleaned up there, but Very fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. I know I certainly did. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.